is Savardis. He's on the move, and they're going to look for Savardis in the corner. Touchdown!
Rowan heading for the touchpad with the lead, and the Profs will take the men's 400-yard freestyle relay.
Andrews will be in shotgun. He takes the snap, fakes the handoff. He'll throw it down the left sideline. He's got a wide open receiver. He's got the touchdown.
Okay, moving in. Sends one on goal, and he scores. And it is a power play goal.
Back to pass, middle of the field. The catch is made by Britt. She's off to the races at the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. Britt is in for the score.
Back on in. Here's Yoxin. Yoxin to the backhand. Trying to go to the front. Makes the move and shot. And he scores!
Smith delivers. And that's it back toward the mound. Weiss has it in short. He steps on second. And the ball game is over. Massapequa Coast has won the 2023 New York State Little League Baseball Championship.
Live from Malcolm X. Shabazz High School Stadium in Newark, New Jersey, PDF Sports Network is proud to welcome you into coverage of Week 2 of the Women's Football Alliance season. Tonight, the 1-0 New York Wolves take on the 1-0 Baltimore Nighthawks. Good evening, everyone. I'm David Pizzuto alongside John McCooch, and we have a few minutes to go until kickoff tonight. So with that, first, let me welcome you, John, to PDF Sports Network, your first broadcast with us, and you should be in for a good one. The Wolves and Nighthawks, John, two very familiar rivals, albeit with a different landscape this time around.
Yeah, much appreciated, by the way. Couldn't have asked for a better game to go with this one. Obviously, you mentioned the rivalry between these two teams. These games usually played on Long Island, but we got a little New Jersey action today. You mentioned the rivalry. You mentioned the move up to the Pro Division by the New York Wolves and the Nighthawks staying in D2. They're going to want to the Nighthawks are going to kind of want to prove, hey, maybe we deserve to go up there with you. We're still right there with you. And the Wolves obviously trying to prove to the rest of the Pro Division, to the rest of this league, that they are definitely deserving of that Pro Division. So they're kind of clashing today. Obviously, it's going to be a great rivalry, but should be a really good one.
Absolutely. So, John, that was the big news this offseason with our New York Wolves, the move from the Division II ranks, where they won a national championship last year, to the Pro Division. And they had a great intro to the Pro ranks last week, hosting the Detroit Venom in Farmingdale. Now, the Venom, like the Nighthawks, play in Division II, but they were a former Pro team last year, and the Wolves came out on top in a game that they knew they would be tested in 20-14.
Right. The Wolves had to come out, especially after moving up, and show that they were deserving of that, like I've mentioned before. But it's good to get that off to a right start. Get off to 1-0. Come into this Nighthawks game, which was always going to be tough. Tough game against the Venom. They came out. They played strong. I mean, the Venom had the ball at the end. It was a one-possession game. But this team's tough. This team's gritty. They're always going to gut it out at the end of it, especially in this sport, especially in this league. So big way for them to go out to 1-0 and start off the season right, start it off strong. But the Nighthawks, they're going to come in looking to make them 1-1. So you got two teams looking to keep their good stretches going here in Newark.
Absolutely. And, John, as we mentioned before, as you've mentioned, these two teams know each other very well. They played 3 times last season, including that classic 27-26 come-from-behind Wolves win in the national semifinals. For the Nighthawks, those 3 losses to the Wolves were their only 3 losses of the entire season. They are hungry for this rematch. Look no further than the 43-0 win last week against Carolina. All systems were humming for the Hawks last week.
Absolutely. They played so well. They like you mentioned, all systems were a go. All systems were working in that game. Both sides of the ball, offense, defense, you win 43-0. It's not like Carolina's a bad team either. So huge win for the Nighthawks to come out. And you mentioned, the only 3 losses last year were to the Wolves. Close games that you mentioned too, so it's not like the Wolves are just that much better. It's just they kind of got the best of them. So when you're heading into this season, you circle this game on the calendar every single time, and a lot of the times you can get distracted when you got that game on the calendar. The Nighthawks, no, they're not distracted at all. They won 43-0. They're ready to roll this season, and they might have watched their rival go to the Pro Division and say, you know what, let's go out and go do that too. So big game for the Nighthawks here, and they're off to a humming start this year.
John, let's take a look at the Pro Division standings on your screen. They'll come up momentarily. Coming into this one, you could see now the standings in the National Conference, the Wolves right there with 3 other teams at 1-0, but their Massey rating has them at 6th overall. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go, I'm sure. But John, we said this last year, in a 6-game season in the WFA, every game counts. And so, yes, it's an early season game. Yes, there are some bragging rights on the line, but this is a pretty huge game, especially for the Wolves and that Massey rating.
Right, especially considering the Nighthawks are a higher echelon of that Division II. It's a really important thing. And yes, you see 1-0 in every schedule, and you say, okay, the season just started. Really, there's 5 games left.
Right.
So you have to go out, you have to stay strong, and you want to get off to a better start. Going out to 2-0 against a higher team in that division, they can move up maybe a couple spots depending on what happens with the rest of this association, with the rest of this league and alliance. But it's going to be important. You got to get off to a good start as well. So, yeah, it's a huge game. I mean, the Nighthawks are a great team. They're going to probably sit around that top of Division II all season long if they keep this stretch up, if they're going to beat teams the way that they have so far this season. So, yeah, huge game. And, again, we're going to talk about that Massey rating, which is so important. But, just to mention it, I mean, this could move them up quite a bit with the New York Wolves. You go off to 2-0 against a strong team. It's huge. It's really huge here today.
You see the results of the coin toss on your screen. The Wolves won the toss. They elected to defer, and the Baltimore Nighthawks will get the ball first and will move from left to right on your screen here. John, great stuff here during pregame. Scene is now set. What we will do is we will take a break. We'll throw it down to field level. I'm sure they'll have our national anthem in just a few moments as well. And just a programming note for those of you at home, we are working off of Wi-Fi tonight, off of our hotspot. If we do have any sort of connectivity issues and we get bounced off the air, don't worry, we will have you back on and up and running if that should happen. So we'll take you through it. Also, the official time is being kept by the officials downfield, but we do have access to our internal time, and we'll try to get you the time that is remaining in each period as well. We'll say it constantly throughout, but we will not have it on our scoreboard tonight. So we're going to throw it down to the public address in just a few moments, where we'll have the playing of our national anthem, and we'll get this one started here. Wolves versus Nighthawks coming up next.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ringing, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Gorgeous rendition of our nation's anthem, and we are just moments away from kickoff here, live from Malcolm X Shabazz High School Stadium here. Beautiful facility here, John, and treated here to a great press box and great hosting site here at Shabazz. Lucky to be here.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, I've done a lot of work with Seton Hall before, so kind of a little bit of a homecoming here in Newark for here. But, yeah, they're definitely a great spot. This place is awesome. This is a really great high school. They put a lot into this here at Southside High School. So it's just great spot. Going to be a great game. Great evening, afternoon, whatever you want to call 5:30. It's going to be a good one for sure.
It's still light out, so we'll go with afternoon.
Exactly. Depends on the season.
Yeah, we get spoiled around here with some pretty decent weather, but even on nights like this where it is a little chilly, it's nice to be up here in the press box. But the players on the field love this weather. Definitely cool enough to stay cool throughout the evening.
Yeah, it was good, and it was raining a little bit up by me before, so not sure if there's any rain in the forecast here today, but it's definitely cleared up. It's going to be good, but yeah, like you said, kickoff moments away. These teams definitely look amped up. They're fired up, ready to go. This is a huge rivalry game, as we kind of mentioned in the open. They're going to be playing tough with a little bit of just that extra edge to them today, so definitely watch out for that. Maybe not some tempers flaring, but they're going to play it pretty hard today, so it's going to be good.
No doubt about it, for sure. Both of these teams will come in with that edge. And with that semifinal in mind, where the Nighthawks did have the lead in that game.
I'm sure they know, the Nighthawks, after you lose that game, you know you're going to see this team again. And you know you're going to play them, at some point where it's a home game for them here in New Jersey, obviously not the usual spot. But this is just where you want to be if you're the Nighthawks. 1-0 after a huge win, big blowout victory. And you get to keep your season going here in that Division II for them. You go against a pro team after a huge win, a team that beat you 3 times last season. You're going to have a little bit of extra something circled on the calendar all season long. This is when you go to practice, when you go to meetings, you think, how could we go beat New York heading into this one? And the Wolves?
Damn it. Betok from the shotgun. This time looks right. Underneath, its pass is intercepted. And going the other way with it via the turnover, the Wolves will take over outside of their 20. The tip drill in full effect. And we got a chance to see it in action. And the Wolves get the benefits of that one. We'll get another look at it in just a few moments. There was the tip off of Pellegrini's fingertips and into the waiting hands of the Wolves, and they capitalize. What a play. We understand we were knocked off the air, but we are back, or at least we should be back. So thank you for being patient here as we deal with our Wi-Fi here up in the booth. First play from scrimmage for the Wolves. They bounce it out and unable to get anywhere that time. Where the Wolves, the ball carried by Matique Jones. And a loss of 1 on the play officially to be 2nd and 11.
So what a defensive stand to go out and create that turnover. I mean, you come out, you want to maybe go for a pass there on first down, try to create some more offense, go off that momentum, but tough loss of downs.
The give underneath immediately, and there is nothing doing there as Jones was bottled up. A pair of Nighthawks defenders, led by Amanda Graham, blew that play up, and 2 consecutive plays go for negative yardage, John. It'll be 3rd down and 13.
Yeah, just a tough start. I mean, these teams are just going back and forth. It's exactly what you expected. But losing yards on back-to-back plays. Credit to the Nighthawks defense. Seeing they made a mistake offensively or in the special teams department, and going out and just saying, "We got you. We got your back. We're gonna get a stop here."
And the Wolves will now operate out of the shotgun, and that was in and out of the hands of Robinson. Pass was a good one by Ayala, but unfortunately the Wolves will go 3 and out after the turnover. Not the worst thing in the world, John, understanding that you took over following the turnover in the red zone by the Nighthawks, but still the Wolves go 3 and out in their first possession.
Right, at the end of the day, the interception stopped the other team from scoring. That's always going to be a positive when you stop a team from scoring, but you got to get a good punt here because now you're going to give the Nighthawks really good field position to go out and try to go get it again. So we got to see how this punt goes for the Wolves.
And that one's over the head of the Wolves, and it needs to be pounced on. And it is. It's a touchdown. I am not sure what Parada was doing just looking at it, John, but she let it just sit there, and the Nighthawks converged on it, and they score.
You have to kick the ball out of the end zone there. That's something you got to do. Or either pounce on it or kick it out of the end zone and take the penalty for the safety.
Now, maybe I was missing something, John, but I'm not sure what happened there as Parada was just kind of standing over it.
Right.
We'll see a quick replay of it on your screen, and we'll try to make heads or tails out of it. Parada certainly has a chance. We missed it there, but
Got it right there.
she had a chance to pounce on top of it. Instead, it was covered for the touchdown for the Nighthawks.
Okay, that's one way to score if you're the Nighthawks right there. We're going to see the PAT in a second.
All right, big point after here for the Nighthawks. We know how big these can be. Snap is down, the spot, the kick is up, and it is good, as converting on it was Whitfield. And it is a 7-0 game for the Nighthawks. And, John, first quarter here, first couple of drives, we've seen a muffed punt by the Wolves, and then a snap off of a punt that goes over the head of Parada. She's unable to come down with it in the end zone, and that's how the Nighthawks score their first touchdown. You certainly could not script the game starting like this.
Right, I don't think anybody would have guessed that this is how you score, how you get the first touchdown of the game. But it's tough. I mean, again, that's a coaching moment. That's a teaching moment right there. You got to kick the ball at the end zone or at least get on it. But it's just been really tough here for either side to really get any offense going. But when you got some special teams moments like that, anything can happen. So you see 7-0, you think, oh, maybe a drive happened. Maybe you got something going, good field position. No, you got the special teams moments. Snap goes over the head. If you're the Nighthawks, you found a way to score. At the end of the day, it's 7-0. It doesn't matter how you get there. New York has to respond some way, shape, or form, though.
Absolutely here as we get set for the kickoff. Now, we did say that we would have time up here in the booth, but we do not. Actually, there is no time being kept up here in the booth. So, official time is being kept on the field. End-over-end kick is taken at the 25-yard line and scampering down towards the far sideline, possibly gaining the 40-yard line. Not sure. I couldn't pick up the number there for the Wolves. So we are quite a distance away, but I do believe that was Tiara Howard on the return. So the Wolves defense has only been on the field for 3 plays, which was 3 stellar plays, but the offense finds themselves down by a touchdown here to start drive number 2 for them.
I mean, I know obviously you got a long game ahead of you, and we're not exactly sure how deep into the first quarter we've gotten. See if we can maybe figure that out with time on the field, but huge drive here.
So Ayala the give underneath and stood up, and a huge hit was laid on Jones that time. And I believe once again for the second time making her presence felt was Amanda Graham.
Absolutely, just got right in there. Great way to come in, deliver a nice clean hit. Perfect form as well.
Second down and about 7. The give once again, this time left side, and minimal yardage, but they do move the pile to the 45-yard line, so it'll be 3rd and long 4. Matique Jones once again on the carry. Wolves have only put the ball up in the air once. That was a dropped pass a little earlier. See if what they opt to do here and whether or not this is 4-down territory. The delayed handoff underneath. Second effort will get the first down for the Wolves. Nice job, but that ball came out late. John, the ball came out late. Graham is all over it. I didn't hear any whistles prematurely, and it will be Nighthawks ball.
That's Nighthawks ball. No whistles came down. Wow. You think you get the first down, and then the ball comes out.
Yeah, and the fumble was by Kia Foster on the play, and we're going to get another look at it.
We can maybe see exactly when the ball came out, but
having a hard time with queuing up our replay here, and now we do.
Just a huge mistake if obviously it looks like the call on the field is going to stay, but again, you bounce off, you get the big yardage, you're fighting through tackles, and you can see exactly where the ball came. It looks like it got ripped out at the end.
On that third effort, too, as we'll go back to live action here.
And no whistles either, so.
No, she was still fighting for yardage.
Yeah.
So Nighthawks benefits of another turnover. That ball dropped in the slot, immediately converged on, but the Nighthawks able to get 5 yards out of the play. Pellegrini again. She's been busy so far.
Right, just been stout, ready to catch those quick screens, quick curl routes. The Nighthawk offense, despite some of the mistakes they made, they're moving. It's not like these offenses weren't moving at all. It's just these mistakes that keep happening, turning the ball over. Nighthawks have been the only one to take advantage of these mistakes so far.
Yeah, still the Nighthawks, of course, were blown up on their first couple of plays from scrimmage, the run. And now Vetok using the pass here out in the flat. Nothing really low percentage here, opting for the high percentage stuff underneath. Vetok barks out the signals. This is possibly a pass all the way. They do run it out into the flat, and a first down and a lot more upcoming. Racing down the sidelines was number 27, Jaquia Alston, and she's got a huge gain here for the Nighthawks.
I mean, that was just a great, again, by the quarterback. You kind of faked out to the right. You went out and got it done. You went out and picked up a huge play, huge gain. You were able to kind of go out to the right, realize you have your screen pass, your outlet, and she went over and she just got a bunch of yards.
Yeah, I kind of thought Vetok was going to be a designed run for her.
Right, almost that too, yeah.
Saw Alston in the flat as the safety, and she just does outrun that Wolves secondary or that second layer of defense. And it's going to be a 1st and 10.
Just got right through the second level. Huge play.
For the second time in the game, the Nighthawks in the Wolves' red zone here in this first quarter. Vetok passing all the way. Once again into the flat, and that time Alston cannot one-hand it. And it'll be 2nd down after the incompletion.
Can't make huge plays every single play. Sometimes you get a quick drop there. But again, you had the look. You had the look right there. It looked like the Wolves weren't really playing the flat as much.
Yeah, you know the Wolves can get in there with their pass rush, John. It's kind of one of their calling cards, putting pressure on the quarterback. And that time, you use that over pursuit to your advantage. And before you know it, you have Alston in the flat making huge plays.
If you're going to rush the passer, maybe send a couple extra, your corner's got to be ready to make an overfield tackle. That's got to be right there in that play, ready to go. They got to know where to go, especially now that you made that mistake. I'm sure that's going to be something that they talk about.
It's going to be a timeout here for the Nighthawks. So our first timeout is called.
Interesting to see the Nighthawks make that call of a timeout. They got the ball moving. But we'll see. We'll see what that leads to. But probably want to set up a play here.
Yep.
Early in the first half.
Yeah, and it's this area of the field too, John, where you're kind of in no man's land, right? I mean, they do have a kicker. You just don't know, based upon the extra point, you just don't know how far of a field goal they'll be willing to take. So if you're the coaching staff here, you want to be able to get this ball in a position where you can kick a field goal and just move the chains forward and not take a big sack or anything like that.
They may be drawing up as you see, 2 backs in the backfield probably. They're probably going to set up some kind of maybe run. Just pick up a few yards, at least make it manageable for the kicker, then you try to pick that thing up on 3rd down.
Vetok once again will work out of the shotgun. 3 wide receivers set, 2 to the near side. Vetok is going to look middle of the field, and it's incomplete. Looks like Pellegrini had a chance, John, to reel that one in, and it'll be 3rd down.
They had that drawn up, too. They set that right in the middle of the field, right in the end zone, had that thing set up. Just unable to make that haul in there. We'll have to take a look at that.
Kind of interested to see here, and we'll see it a little bit slowed down as well. We'll get you back to live action, see if Pellegrini, and yeah, you could see her on that cross. It's probably one she'd like to have.
Right. Well, you would definitely want to have that back wide open. You're going to look at the film, think I could have a touchdown there.
3rd down and 10. Big play here for both sides. Same formation here. 2 wide receivers on the near side. Vetok looks, and now we'll tuck it down and run, being converged on from behind, short of the 1st down, about 3 yards shy. Good job by the Wolves to pursue and make the tackle. Looked like coming in on that tackle was number 32, who we actually do not have on our roster. But it will be a 4th down, and for all intents and purposes, it looks like they are going to go for this one. So huge play here as we imagine we're in the final stages of the first quarter, a very eventful one at that. Wolves with 2 turnovers and a muffed punt that led to the Nighthawks touchdown.
Same formation here as well. See if they run a similar play.
4th and 5. They look left side, pressure upcoming, and that ball is put too far extended for the wide receiver Whitfield, and the Wolves will take over on downs. John, they needed that.
It looked like they had that. The Nighthawks had that play over the middle yet again. Just wasn't able to make the throw. Again, that pass rush that you mentioned for the Wolves got in there. Vetok had to make a quick throw to the outside. Just wasn't able to get enough air under it. The receiver could go make that grab. But huge stand for the Wolves, especially all the circumstances considered there. Huge stand.
Yep. And take away that big 35-yard play by Jaquea Alston. The Wolves' defense has been admirable here in this first quarter. And they'll have to take over here at their own 11-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Wolves as they begin their third series. That pass out into the flat. The completion is made, and tackle is made promptly at the 15-yard line. Parada was there to make the grab.
And that's the play you got to do. You got to just get quick play, quick outlet pass, get it ready to go. Get these offense moving.
Officially a gain of 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 6. The Wolves will work quickly here. 4 wide receivers split, and they'll draw underneath. Scampering through the bodies and working their way up to the 20 I thought that was number 11, but I might have had a wrong number there. And it was Jones, Matique Jones, who will do most of the running there. And they have advanced the chains, so it'll be a 1st down. Thought at first you might have been just a bit short.
Looked a bit short chains-wise, but...
Well, we've seen Jones with those 2nd and 3rd efforts. Fake draw. Ayala scampers to the right side. She's going to tuck it down. Now opts to pass. And at the sideline, that pass is caught by Parada for another Wolves 1st down.
Great way to go up and get it right there. Great play. I mean, they needed that to keep this ball moving.
Yeah, and that's a calling card to Danielle Ayala's play for the Wolves, being able to scamper out of the pocket and hit players on the run. And there's another example there. Parada left open, overcommitting defense, and great job all around. Nice snag there by Parada as well. Same formation. The give is underneath. Once again to Jones. Jones finds an angle and dives forward for gain of about 4 or 5 yards again. And, John, they'll take this, the Wolves will, just kind of moving forward with the ball, 4 and 5 yard chunks at a time. It's exactly what Coach Alessandro wants.
I mean, that's how you got to do it, especially when you have plenty of time here in this game. Keep things going. Keep this offense moving as much as you can. I mean, even if you don't lead the points, you win the field position battle by keeping this outside away from your own end zone.
And they keep it on the ground. That was Foster's attempt that time. That was her first attempt since that fumble earlier in the quarter, and it set up about a 3rd and a long 2, maybe 3.
If you're the Wolves, this is the biggest play of the game so far offensively for you.
Yeah, and it's a decision coming, too, on 4th down if you don't get it here, and if you're just a yard shy. Baltimore will have a lot to say about that as the give is up the middle once again to Forster. She fights. And we'll see where this gets spotted. It looks like it will be a 1st down as the chains are ordered to move along. And the Wolves got another 1st down.
You stay alive, you keep it moving. Thought she might have been a little bit short right there, but great way for this offensive line. They are just bruising through this right now here on this drive. They understand that how important this drive is right here.
Yeah, we saw this last week against the Venom as well. The run, setting up the pass, especially on play action, and we'll see when they'll draw that up again. 4 wide receivers set, trips left, and Ayala is looking in that direction towards the sideline, extended, and making the catch was Parada. Parada is off to the races and is put down just outside the 20.
Plays like this can be absolute game changers. This Wolves team, they were struggling to kind of keep the ball moving at all, and now they get this huge play right here. They keep the ball moving. We're going to take a replay at this. Great way. Good throw on the outside. Get enough air under it. Corner wasn't able to make that jump, and a huge play here for the Wolves as they get almost to the 20.
Yeah, I was going to say that Parada made a great adjustment on the ball, but maybe that's exactly where Ayala wanted to put it based on where the defenders were playing out there, and only Parada could get to it. Ayala, a lot of time, looking towards the corner, and it is broken up. Nice defensive play that time by Jasmine Ward, saving the touchdown.
She might have almost went up there with that one hand and caught that thing, but huge defensive play. You had the same receiver, same player, almost same play, really, too.
Yep, and Parada had the step on that as well, but nice job of getting up and grabbing it was Ward and knocking it down. 2nd down and 10. John, we mentioned the run setting up the pass. Look no further there as another run for Foster up the middle, and she finds some daylight before she gets put down by a trio of white jerseys, a gain of a little over 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 4 or 5.
Great patience there as well to just make sure that you wait for that hole to open up. You go out, you create 6 yards. That could be a play that you only get back to the line of scrimmage. You could even lose yards on those kind of plays. But when you're patient, when you're calm under your offensive line and you trust them, you can go out and do exactly what you just did. Go out and get a couple yards there, get 6.
Another big call here. 3rd down, a long 4. Ayala, player in motion was Capardi. Ayala looking center of the field, and that one's broken up again. Nice job in the secondary by Brewer to break that up. The safety went up and got a mid on it.
And great timing there as well to break that up. You can almost get those pass interference calls on plays like that, but when you have your timing, you go out and you just get it done. You make that play. It's like 4 down territory here.
Yep. That was the first pass intended for Montalvo today. 4th down, a long 4 yards. Brooke Singer stays on the sideline. She is the Wolves kicker. As we have to be in the dying moments here of the first quarter. A very eventful one at that. The Wolves looking to get on the board. 4th down and 4. Ayala, Capardi in motion. Ayala looking right side, now middle of the field. It's bounced around and it's intercepted. And that will be Brewer this time. Racing down the far sideline. Has Foster to beat. Sidesteps her. Is at the 50, the 40, and she is going to take it to the house. The Nighthawks have improved on their lead. It's 13-0.
Wow is all you can say at that moment. Wolves were driving. They were moving. And Brewer, who's been making some great plays so far, just goes out and gets a pick 6. That's how you do it.
Yeah, we'll get another look at it here. John cues up the replay. Looked like a kind of a mistimed ball there. Receiver going one way, ball going the other, and the Nighthawks, for the 3rd time on the drive, break up the pass first. And that time the tip drill works in the other direction, and you can see Brewer does the rest. 13-0 Nighthawks here with the extra point upcoming. And unbelievable, John, that the Wolves have committed 3 turnovers here in the first quarter, plus the muffed punt.
Right.
Which led to the first points.
That was a situation where you're so close to tying up this game, and now it's 14, about to be maybe 14-0 if this point goes through. I mean, that is just a soul-crushing play here early.
Baltimore's defense with 2 touchdowns, although you could credit special teams with the first. Extra point. Line drive kick is no good. It was wide right, and so the score will stay put at 13-0. And again, John, after the first touchdown, we said you can't script a quarter starting like that. If the quarter ends in this fashion, which I believe it is, can't script it finishing like that either.
You can't script anything like that. I mean, again, the Wolves, they were driving. It was about to be a game. And then it just turns into that situation. It's just a tough way to go. Tough way to go out with that situation. But the Wolves, still plenty of game left, still plenty of football left to play. They can make some defensive plays, special teams plays of their own. But you've got to stay true to it. You got to realize in those situations, you were right there. You were right there going offensively to make a drive. Defense has to make a couple plays in this game. But again, that's just a tough way to go out into the second quarter.
Well, the positive here for the Wolves, John, is they still have 3 quarters to go, and that is an eternity here in the WFA, and they're going to need that time because much like the Division II national semifinals, they find themselves down by multiple scores here against the Nighthawks and are looking to once again answer the bell here, and it'll start on this kickoff here to start the second quarter. End-over-end kick fielded at a 27-yard line. And the Wolves able to find some daylight and the return out to the 45-yard line. Some of the numbers on these jerseys are tucked so tight, but that was Nehemiah Outlaw with the return. Sorry, John, go ahead.
Right, they're not worried about us. If they got to tuck it in, they got to tuck it in. We'll figure it out. But Great way to get that field possession. So I know we said that, long game ahead, obviously. But this just feels like a drive you have to get something out of, or at least get really good field position here, because you can't afford to go down 20-0 or 19-0 in those situations. Even if you do have the whole second half ahead of you, you at least have to get something positive out of this drive.
You have to love the way they were able to drive the ball down the field using both the run and the pass. This will be a give to Foster. Up the middle, finding some daylight, and Foster is finally ripped to the ground by Green Simmons, but not before she gains a healthy 5 yards on first down.
And she almost went out and broke that tackle there, but great way to kind of grab that back of the jersey and bring her down. That's a great way to start. Just run the ball, keep things moving. Yes, you got a big deficit in front of you, but you can make this a very manageable game very quickly here in this second quarter.
Trips left side, and the give once again is to Foster. Foster with the patient running again. Gets closer to the first down. Is about a yard shy before 3 Nighthawks players converge to take her down, led by Aaliyah Stewart.
Yeah, just that, like we mentioned, the patient running that this offense has been able to provide. It's got them past the 50. It's got them in a situation where you're close to a first down. They can keep this thing moving.
Yeah, ground and pound, and then Ayala, of course, we've seen it already, has the ability to take off the top. Once again, the give is to Foster. She has the first down and plenty more as the pile gets pushed to the 39-yard line of the Nighthawks, and they'll move the chains again.
I mean, it's just impressive when the team makes the mistakes that they have to stay steady and keep things moving. If you watch this and it was 0-0, you'd believe it, because They look composed out there offensively. It's great coaching.
And they will work quickly once again. 3 wide receiver set, and the give once again is right up the middle. And that time it was blown up at the line of scrimmage as Matique Jones gets the carry again. Maybe a minimal loss on the play. But the Wolves will continue to work quickly here. Ayala getting the plays from the sideline, relaying them in. The Wolves go with trips right this time. Ayala with the long count. She is going to look right side first. Looks off a couple of receivers, and that one is broken up. Montalvo was the intended receiver, and now it'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, not much open on that play. Kind of threw that into some tough coverage. Got to be lucky that ball wasn't intercepted. A couple defenders in the area. Now it's tough.
Yep. Wolves with 3 turnovers in the game, and they had the muffed punt, which led to a Nighthawks touchdown. On top of that, Ayala looks right side, now might look to tuck it down. She's being chased and off to the sideline and gets strung out enough so that finishing her off was Stewart. No gain, maybe a loss of 1 on the play. It'll be 4th and long.
I mean, this offense had gotten some big plays on the previous drive that they had, but almost there.
Yeah, and just running,
Yep.
John, and then they go to the pass, and the drive stalls. So something for Coach Fabian to think about here, as the run game was working, and the Nighthawks have been really good in the secondary, of course, with the exception of a couple of those big passes. Some late substitutions here for the Wolves. Not sure how many players they have on the field, but now it looks like Parada is coming off.
Just some miscommunication about substitutions right there.
Actually, that was Montalvo racing over to the sideline. Parada is, of course, the punter, and she gets that one up in the face of danger, and it is taken at the 15-yard line. Spinning and twisting and forging ahead was Anderson on the play, and she gets the ball out close to the 25-yard line, call it the 23, and the Nighthawks will take over. And the offense for the Nighthawks, John, they've been staked a 13-point lead here. They haven't scored in this game, and they're looking to now play ahead with the lead and move these sticks a few times.
Right, both offenses, neither offense has scored yet today,
right.
But you see a 13-0 score line. I mean, there's a time for the Nighthawk offense to kind of just say, okay, my special teams, my defense has really put us ahead. You can almost get an early dagger here if you go out and go make a good drive.
3 wide receivers, 2 on the far side, and I think we'll have our first flag of the game, or, no, it was a timeout called by the Wolves.
And kind of just to revisit that previous play it looked like, I don't know if my eyes deceive me, but it looked like the ball took a bounce there on the punt. Great way for punter to go out and just recover it.
Yeah, Parada's done well in that respect. Of course, she did let that punt that sailed over, the snap that sailed over her head, land in the end zone and not converge on it, which led to the Nighthawks' first score. But, covering the WFA last season for the first year, John, PDF Sportsnet, of course, covered the Tri-State Warriors in Division II. Tri-State not playing this year, but we saw how big special teams plays in every game that we covered, whether it was a big return, whether it was a blocked punt, whether it was an extra point. Special teams will find a way to play a major part in these games, and it was the result of the first touchdown here in this one.
A lot of the time we're watching football, the special teams play is your time to kind of go up, get a snack or something. No, that's when you want to lock in a lot of the time. Special plays make special teams.
Vetok with the long count, and the give is up the middle, and bouncing off a couple of defenders was Edelman. Enough to gain about 2 or 3 yards on the play before the Wolves were there to cut her down just outside the 25.
The Nighthawk offense, really when you look at it, hasn't done as much as you might have wanted them to. The Wolves have done a great job running the ball. The Nighthawks haven't really been able to do it as much today. They had some great screen plays, great outlets, but in terms of just running the ball, running up the gut, they haven't had it going as well as the Wolves had. So maybe this is the drive where they kind of put their foot down.
Yeah, it was one of their rare gains on a run play in this game. Long count again. This time Vetok's going to throw all the way, and that was well over the head of Pellegrini, who I don't even know was expecting that, in traffic, and it'll be 3rd and long.
Just kind of went right into that dead zone between the defenders and the receiver there as well, but just threw that right into coverage. I don't think she was expecting that pass as well. She kind of knew she had a defender right on her.
So 3rd down and 7. I'm interested to see what the Nighthawks draw up here, if they'll go with either the flare pass that has worked for them here coming out of the backfield, or whether they'll allow Vetok the time to have somebody spring downfield. Trips with 2 wide receivers in the near side. Vetok with the count. She's looking on that near side. Middle of the field to Pellegrini. Pass is caught. Immediate tackle on the play by Outlaw, and it will be a 4th down. You see the side judge fists go up in the air. It'll be 4th and 1. And here is an interesting decision here. Again, Vetok also punts the football, but she is going to line up under center. And it is going to be the keeper with Vetok, and I believe she's got plenty for a 1st down as she reaches the 35-yard line. No push necessary on that one, John. She gets the 1st.
Pretty easy quarterback sneak right there for Vetok. I mean, that's just, when you got 4th and 1, 4th and maybe less than that, that's just the go-to play right there. Go down the dirt, go get it done, go get a yard, and keep this drive moving. But huge 1st down for this Nighthawk offense if they want to be a factor in this game.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily about scoring on this drive, John, but it's about changing field position. It's about getting the breather for your defense, and the Nighthawks really needed that 1st down. As much as they have the lead here and are playing with it, they need the ball in their offense's hands a little bit more. Vetok, near side underneath to Pellegrini, and that one was dropped as she got hit from behind by a pair of Wolves on the play.
Right, but like you mentioned, I mean, you can't score on defense every single time and win the game out there. Your offense has to do something to kind of help them out. If you give the Wolves the ball at the 50, if you don't get the 1st down there, they would have given it a lot quicker, a lot closer to their own end zone than that. So that was a huge play. It was a lot bigger of a play than maybe you might think looking back on this game.
All right, so 2nd and long. Nighthawks with a very familiar formation here. This time they go with 2 wide receivers on the far side. It's going to be a keeper for Vetok all the way, and she struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe gained about a half a yard, but that's it. It'll be 3rd down and long.
Looked like a solid play design, but the Wolves, they just had it locked down everywhere. They had a defender for every scenario that could have happened out of a play like that. This Wolves defense, they are just aggressive. They've been moving. I mean, they haven't let up any points either.
And I did receive who number 32 is. It is Nicole Muccio for the Wolves. Wasn't on our official roster, but a thank you to Shayna with the Wolves for getting us the Wolves roster before our game here today. Muccio's right there on it. Vetok will sky it down the sideline, a jump ball, and who came down with it? It was the Nighthawks. First down. We'll get another look at that one for sure. Jennifer Whitfield went up and got it. I thought that pass was dead to rights as soon as it was released, Johns. We'll get a look at it. We'll see Vetok really put everything into this pass, and it might have just gotten away from her a little bit. See, kind of was really funny coming out of her hand, but wow, what a job by Whitfield to come down with it. Another first down for the Nighthawks inside Wolves territory at the 46-yard line. Shotgun set for Vetok. Long count, 2 wide receivers near side. And we are going to have a timeout called before the snap. It will be, not sure which team called it here. We'll get the official signal. It was called by the Nighthawks. So they are down to 1 timeout here. But getting back to that pass.
I'm still in awe of that play. I mean, that was just – I thought that play was dead, like the same thing you thought. I thought maybe that was, if anything, if someone caught that ball, that might have been intercepted. But just patience, waiting for the ball to come down and going and getting it. That was just impressive. That's a huge play.
Yeah, and if you don't make that play, it's now a 4th down and long, and the Wolves likely get the ball back. But, you know, these little plays, these little handful of plays that get made during the game, sometimes they get lost in the box score, John, but these are the kind of plays that really turn games around or provide just the amount of momentum that is needed to continue drives and end up being backbreakers down the line. And now the Wolves defense has been on the field for quite some time.
I mean, they have to be somewhat gassed. That's a play where you think, okay, you're getting off the field, and then a receiver goes out and makes such a great play. It can not only just keep you tired, but is also just demoralizing the fact that you didn't go out and make that play.
Strong I formation that time. Vetok looking on the near sideline all the way. It is caught, and breaking away from the field is Bates. Bates is going in for the touchdown.
Through the second level, right up the middle. We're going to take a look at that as well. I mean, that is just a defensive breakdown, defensive miscommunication by this team, by this Wolves defense. Really the first mistake that they've made all game long.
Yeah, we'll get another look at it here, and you could see the pass was good. You could see Bates getting behind the secondary, and then the Wolves kind of in the backfield, Benson and Outlaw kind of looking at one another, wondering whose mark that was, but taking advantage of the safety coming in, and now a chance for Whitfield to make it a 20-point game. Kick is up, and it is good. And that will make it 20-0, an improbable score here. The Nighthawks on top. And a nice drive that went, 3/4 of the field. I think the Nighthawks started at about their own 22-yard line. So a nice long drive by the Nighthawks, and really it's the first time their offense really flashed some of what they're about.
Exactly. I mean, it looked like the two defenders for the Wolves kind of ran into each other thinking, oh, who's got who? But for the Nighthawks, you just finally went out, and again, like I said before, your special teams made a play. Your defense made a play. Now you go back to the sideline saying, okay, we made a play. We got you guys. And now that this game is continuing, there's still a lot of football left to play. This offense is rolling so far. It's looking a lot like that 43-0 game that they played against Carolina. So the Wolves have to kind of stop the bleeding at some point, but we'll see if they can get it done.
Thompson and Outlaw are back for the Wolves. And after this play is over, I'll ask a question of you, John, here as we find the Wolves down by multiple scores. Getting back and fielding that and immediately going out of bounds at the 30 were the Wolves. And John, the question I was going to ask was at what point do you push that panic button, or is there a panic button to be pushed right now if you're the Wolves?
You can't push that panic button until it's another touchdown. 3 possessions is still somewhat manageable, but once it gets to that 4 mark, you kind of have to hit that panic button where 4 down territory is always that territory. But they're not there yet. It's getting a lot closer than they would like to, especially at this point in the game and how big this game is. But you still have the ball. You can still make this a 2-possession game here on this drive. So you still can play pretty mellow, pretty calm, and still really run your script because you make this a 2-possession game. You still have the second half left to go.
Ayala in the flat finds her receiver, but minimal gain that time. As it was Capardi who came down with it, but she was immediately converged on by Stewart. Gain of 1 officially, 2nd down and 9. And that was going to be the other part of the question too, John, is, do you have to, I don't want to say abandon the run game here, but do you have to look for Ayala to kind of put it up now? As we're about midway through the second, you would have to imagine. But they do work it on the ground, and it is Jones, and Jones powers ahead for 8 yards. She is very close to the first down, probably about a half a yard short.
Thought she might have got it there, but I think that kind of answers the question right there. They still trust the run. It's been what's working for them all game long. They've had some good pass plays, but they can still run that ball.
And I agree with you, John. I think the running game has really worked for this Wolves team, and it might only be working in 5 or 6 yard chunks, but that's just fine as they do pick up the first down there as Jones powers ahead, moves the pile forward 3 yards, and the Wolves will have a 1st and 10 at the 43.
But again, if you ask me that same question in the middle of the third quarter, I'd probably say you have to throw the ball a lot more. But again, because you still have this second quarter, you still have that second half as well, there's still plenty of time, and your defense can go out there and make some plays too, like the Nighthawks defense has.
Trips right here for the Wolves. And it is going to be Ayala working in the flat. Over to Capardi. Capardi, very similar play than what they ran on first down the other side of the field. It picks up minimal yardage. 1 yard on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
But the other part of this is you can't win this game by just running the ball right now. You have to make a big play like the Nighthawks just did on them. They have to make some kind of big play, but obviously the run always sets up the pass. They try to get that there.
And it is a give underneath, but blown up in the backfield. Another nice play by Stewart, that time on Foster. And that's going to be a loss of 4 yards and bring up a 3rd and 13. So now the Wolves will have to dig into their arsenal. And you would think Ayala's going to have to put one up deep into the secondary here. It'll start with getting some time to throw. She does have time to survey, looks middle of the field, and that one is allowed to hit turf. As it was Capardi, the intended receiver. She was in between 2 or 3 defenders there, John, and was going to be a tough catch to make.
Right, there's a place where you can put that ball and put it, you have to throw it so tight and just right, really under. You got to throw it under a little bit there, but that's such a tough throw to make that you can't really blame Ayala for that. I mean, you had a little bit of an opening, but again, tough catch no matter what. They had to air it out at some point, though, and you get the punt here.
So the Nighthawks continue here to shut down the Wolves. They have given up some yardage on defense. The Wolves have had some pronounced drives, but they come up empty here. 4th and 13. Clean punt this time. Fielded end over end and an over-the-shoulder grab, but a nice tackle that time made by the Wolves. Great job by multiple players. Nandi Brown, number 18, the defensive back, making the stop there. And no place for A.G. Anderson to go on that punt return. But the Nighthawks will have it 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line.
It was fielded pretty cleanly. It was a tough grab to make and kind of held the ball out there as well. I thought maybe some sort of fumble, some sort of muff was coming, but great way to handle it and just stay composed and keep that ball tucked. But now that panic button, I have my hand over it, I'll say. I'm not there yet, but I have my hand over it.
It's hovering.
Yeah, exactly.
Split backfield to the right and left of Vetak. And the give is going to be underneath, but falling almost immediately was Edelman. Gain of about No, actually a loss of 1 on the play as Edelman kind of stumbled into that handoff. Muccio made the tackle.
Right, handoff wasn't as clean as maybe you would have wanted to, but that play was just blown up from the beginning.
Right, and if you're the Nighthawks now, you obviously want to take time off the clock. That is your friend, and love to get into halftime with the 20-point or more lead. You got the ball in your hands, you're almost guaranteed of that. 3 wide receivers, and again, split backfield. Edelman to the right, Husband to the left, and it's going to be aired out, and another one that's out, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. That was Bates, who scored the touchdown earlier, but it will be 3rd and long, and the clock stops.
Right, we don't have the exact time around here, but it's probably closer to the end of the second quarter than not.
Right.
These offenses kind of keeping the ball up in the air. So not sure exactly how much time New York would have if they got the ball back, but you'd imagine that they'd want at least a shot.
Yep, and they do have the big play capability, do the Wolves, and airing it out with Ayala's arm. Betak barks out the signals, throwing all the way, right sideline, and adjusting to the ball and catching it on the underneath route was Bates. So she drops one just previously and makes the catch there. Another crucial first down for the Nighthawks.
I mean, just what a way to go up and get it again. They've let up a couple of these plays, these Wolves, where they just go up and get it.
First and 10. Betak and company with a new pair of downs, and they give it to Edelman, who is just swallowed up in the backfield. Great job that time by the Wolves to get there first. Vanika Jarvis with tremendous tackle in the backfield, and it'll be 2nd down and 13.
You have to respond after letting up a big play like the Wolves did, and you did exactly that. This defensive line is really what's kept the Wolves still in this game. The defensive line plays that they've been able to make, got to be aggressive.
We will have a timeout, and we'll get the official signal. It will be taken by the Nighthawks, so we'll give the Wolves back that timeout.
Yep.
And the Nighthawks are out of timeouts here in the first half. And the Wolves have still 2 timeouts remaining. But, yeah, just a lopsided score for now. Not what we expected. We expected a relatively low-scoring, potentially back-and-forth, close game in this one. We might still get it. But the Nighthawks right now have stepped on the throat of the Wolves a little bit and have a chance here to just step down a little bit harder right before the half.
I mean, they've gotten a lot of things going their way. You make that defensive play, you make the special teams play, you get an offensive touchdown. But if you're the Wolves, there's still time. Even if you're going into the second half scoreless, there's still time. You still have a 3-possession game where you can take the lead if you make all your extra points as well.
Yeah, and the Wolves found themselves down by multiple scores in that national semifinal game. They end up coming back, winning it by 1, 27-26, as Edelman once again gets blown up in the backfield by Jarvis. Great defensive play, and now we're looking at a 3rd and about 18 coming up. 5-yard loss by Edelman.
If you're the Wolves, maybe those timeouts have to kind of start coming into play here. Again, not exactly sure how much time is left. But you want to maybe save some time, get some time for your offense if you're going to be able to create a punt.
Yeah, and sometimes we're able to hear the time just coming from the field. But, John, we are a good, 30 to 40 yards back from the 50-yard line. So it's going to be very tough for us to audibly hear any kind of time that's remaining here in this half and then later in this game. 3rd down and very long. Betak has the time, looking right sideline, jump ball once again, and it is incomplete. That was great coverage down on the other side of the field by, not sure, it looked like 55, Vonnie Miller, but Not quite sure who that is on the far side. But on 4th down, we're going to have a punt here for the Nighthawks. And the Wolves will get this back. We would guess with minimal time remaining in the half, but they'll get it back nonetheless. Wolves got to get away from this one, however, as the Nighthawks get on top of it. A late flag. And, John, I believe our first flag of the game is down. It came from way behind the play, behind the Wolves' side of the field. And we'll see what this one gets called.
It's been a clean game so far. It was the first penalty of the game we got right here. Again, waiting for that signal.
And we'll see if it's even accepted here, depending on what it is. It was no play. The ball was downed. And it looks like the crew, after discussion, will emerge out of this. But looks like our head referee wants to it will be a holding against the Wolves on a punt that was not returned. So that's an interesting one, John.
Right.
You don't see that a lot. But the Wolves are going to have to start from deeper in their own end of the field. In fact, inside their own red zone, just shy of the 20-yard line. 1st and 10, 81 yards to go to pay dirt, and what could really be a huge lift for the Wolves in this game. They start out with 3 wide receivers. They go middle of the field. The pass is caught. A nice job that time in the middle of the field and hooking up with Capardi. The nice throw by Ayala, and they are going to hurry here.
Got to hurry up, keep the chains moving every single play, keep it going. This is big for the Wolves offense.
Ayala back to pass. This time looks near side in the flat. Is able to find Montalvo. Gain of about 4 yards on the play. Now the Wolves do still have 2 timeouts remaining.
Great timeout conservation all game as well. They've got to start using them at some point if they got to keep hurrying up.
2nd down, a short 6. Ayala surveys the middle of the field, has to scamper out, and finds the safety valve underneath. That is going to be called a completion, I believe. It was made by Thompson. A little bit closer to the sticks. It'll be 3rd down and a long 3.
You might have not even wanted that to be complete.
Right.
If you're
Get
gonna
that
want
clock stop.
Exactly.
Trips right side for Ayala this time. Has some heat converging on her. It's intercepted. Intercepted and taking it the other way, Brianna Brewer. Touchdown on the defensive side. The second one of the game for Brewer. We have Ayala down for the Wolves. She took a monster blindside hit to the back, and she is still down. That definitely affected the pass, John, and Brewer, once again, did the rest.
Right. I mean, Brewer's just been huge this game, and you see Boom coming off the edge, just made the play. I mean, that was why that ball went under.
Yep.
And just great way to cut under it from Brewer, but hopefully they're okay.
Yep, and when this replay is over, we'll show it again, and we'll slow it down just so you could see Ayala in the backfield taking the hit.
Yeah, we'll take a look.
And that'll explain that, and it might explain some of the pass. We'll see if she got hit on the release, and she did. So it did affect the pass a little bit. But look at Brewer. Just playing center field, just went right underneath it, and then the rest is green and daylight in front of her. Great look, and the Nighthawks are up by 4 scores. But right now, the concern is for Danielle Ayala.
Been on the ground that time. I mean, it's any time that you're going to be a quarterback and take a play like that at your blind side, it's going to knock some kind of wind out of you at some point as well. It's just a tough hit to take. They're tending to her. Hopefully she's able to come up off her own power, but it's a tough hit to take for anybody.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And while we have a timeout, we will let you know that today's game is being sponsored by Spoil-A-Pet Pet Services. Want to thank them for sponsoring our game here tonight, one of our 2 highlighted sponsors. Along with lots of loving and spoiling, we provide fresh food and water, exercise and playtime, litter box maintenance, cleanup of pet messes, administration of medication, and overnight services. Yes, we stay overnight with your pets. For Spoil-A-Pet, dial 718-858-7345 or visit www.spoil-a-pet.com. Thank you, Spoil a Pet, for all of your services and your sponsorship of New York Wolves football. And we'll also let you know that El Rincon Boricua Restaurant and Juice Bar is also a proud sponsor of New York Wolves football, located on 622 Melrose Avenue in the Bronx. Please visit El Rincon Boricua Restaurant and Juice Bar. Dial 718-483-8365 or 347-514-1077 to get your pre-orders in now. Thank you, El Rincon Boricua Restaurant and Juice Bar. So when we do get back to live action, we will await the extra point in what has been a game right now fully in favor of the Baltimore Nighthawks. They've scored a couple of touchdowns on defense. They scored one on special teams, kind of slash defense by converging on the muffed snap off of a punt. But still, 26-0, and 26 points might look familiar. That's what the Nighthawks scored in their national semifinal game against the Wolves. Of course, the Wolves coming back and winning that one 27-26, but Ayala is up under her own power, so that is a very, very good sight to see if you're a Wolves fan. Now, whether or not she reports back into this game at any point, we shall see. We saw the hit that she took. It was not pretty. And Karen Mulligan, who did the call of the game last week, is one of the quarterbacks on this team. We'll see if she makes an appearance here in this one. But, yeah, Ayala is under definitely some discomfort and is being gingerly taken off the field. She is hurting. We do wish Danielle the best, and, of course, her family and her teammates watching. And that was a tough hit, and unfortunately, John, that is a byproduct of this game. And you give your hats off to a lot of these players here who put their bodies on the line every week.
Absolutely. I mean, just the toughness that these teams have showed just throughout this entire game. Sometimes, again, like you mentioned, part of the game. Hopefully everyone comes out all right at the end of the day. But looks like Mulligan's the only other quarterback as well on this roster as far as we've gotten here. But we'll see the extra point. We'll see what the Nighthawks
And I haven't seen any tossing going on the Wolves sideline. That's kind of what I was looking for, and I didn't see it, but we'll keep our eye on that. Meanwhile, it will be Whitfield for the point after attempt. It is a 4-score game officially. A chance to add one more digit to the lead.
But Jarvis hustling off the field.
Snap spot. There is a flag down. The kick was through the uprights and good. See what the flag is about. The Wolves might have had too many players on the field, in which case this would be declined, and the score will stand at 27-0. And confirmation to decline the penalty going on now on the far sideline.
Right, you can tell by the way the Wolves are walking off that they weren't going to do a retry.
Yeah, too many players on the field. Declined. The result of the play stands 27-0 here in the second. We have to believe we are in the closing moments of the first half. The Wolves with 4 turnovers in this game. And add on to that a muffed punt snap that was recovered in the end zone. Amazing here. Baltimore with a 27-0 lead. They've only scored 1 offensive touchdown. But I'm sure at halftime that'll be something that head coach Fabian Alessandro will tell his team. You got to take care of the football for sure in this second half. And they're going to need some points. Taken at about the 25-yard line and returned to the 43. So once again, 42-yard line. Once again, the Wolves will have very good starting field position. That they haven't been able to complain about tonight. And they'll have to drive 58 yards to try and get into the end zone as the clock is winding down here in this first half. Once again, if you joined us late, there is no official time up here in the booth tonight like we had in Long Island last week. Instead, official time is being kept on the field only. So if we get relay time, we will relay it to you. Until then, we do not know how much time is left. And it will be taken for a knee to what I believe will be to end the first half. And it looks like the official quarterback is Nehemiah Outlaw. John, the defensive back, and both teams are going to their respective sides, so this will be halftime. And so we will officially be at halftime here. And the score you will see on your screen pretty much tells the story of this first half. The Nighthawks started hot. They made the most out of some Wolves turnovers, and at the end of 30 minutes of play, the Nighthawks lead the Wolves 27-0. Now, Pat Brown, the voice of the New York Wolves, will join us during halftime here. Until then, John and I will step off of headset, and we'll get you ready for the start of the third quarter coming up in a few minutes. Once again, this is New York Wolves and WFA football right here on the PDF Sports Network. All right, welcome back to Malcolm X Shabazz High School Stadium here in Newark, New Jersey. We are at halftime between the Wolves and the Nighthawks, and I am joined by Pat Brown, the voice of the New York Wolves. Pat, thank you for joining us here on this halftime.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, everybody out there. Just to give you a short synopsis, I had major surgery on April 10th. I was told by the doctors that I cannot project my voice for another 4 weeks. So the next time you'll hear me on the broadcast will probably be June 1st. But thank you for all your support and your prayers. And thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. We were dismayed to hear that you wouldn't be joining us on the broadcast, and happy to fill in for you while you're away. But, Pat, for tonight, you're actually working up here in the stands, surveying the field, relaying information down to the coaching staff. And obviously you have to be dismayed with the score right now. What is said at halftime in a game like this?
Adversity builds character. This is a game of inches, and it's a game of momentum. We gave away the momentum early. We never recaptured it. And Baltimore's doing a good job of capitalizing on our mistakes and doing what they should do, and that is put the points on the board when the other team gives you the ball back.
Yeah, and Pat, John and I were discussing the fact that, for the most part, the Wolves have been able to move the football on the offensive side. The defense has played pretty well. You've given up the 2 touchdowns on the defense. Of course, the special teams one on the botched snap was the other one. So there are some good things to take away here from a half that otherwise you look at the scoreboard and say, wow, this could be. It's really not that one-sided, is it?
Well, if you look statistically, which is what I do, you can't have 5 turnovers and 2 pick sixes in 30 minutes of football. Right. You don't win many football games like that, and that's why they're down 27-0. But you have 30 minutes left. Anything can happen. You can snatch momentum back and make this a game. And that's what we told them at halftime. Hey, it's only one half of a football game. You still have 30 minutes left. Let's go out there and play Wolf football and do what we need to do.
Absolutely. And, Pat, that was going to be my final question before I let you go and rejoin the team, is that there's no such thing as a 27-point touchdown. So how do you as a team kind of rip into this lead? What are some of the things that you tell your team as far as building momentum and getting back in this game?
One play at a time, one possession at a time, one score at a time. Defense is going to have to come up with some stops, hopefully get some turnovers and turn the tide a little bit. And then offensively, we're going to have to get behind our backup quarterback and march the ball down the field.
Well, Pat, thank you for joining us. We know you can't stress your voice that much, but we appreciate it. We welcome you back on. Hopefully we'll see you later on.
Thank you very much.
You got it, Pat. Thank you very much, Pat Brown. Thankful to have him on here for some perspective at halftime. Let's step away from the broadcast for just a moment or two. When we come back, we'll have the second half. We'll bring John McCooch back in. Welcome back to the second half of action. John, the Wolves will get the ball first here in this third quarter, and they're happier for it.
And make sure you catch your breath. We saw you go. You had to go out on the field, make sure the score was right. The scoreboard on there said 26. We need to just double check, make sure we got 27 right. So I'll let you catch your breath here. I mean, this is a tough game. You just had Brown on. Again, one play at a time, one possession at a time, and the Wolves do get the ball back here. That's going to be really important. They get the ball back. They've got a lot of time left. You got a whole half to go. 30 minutes of football left to go. See if they can maybe at least make this a good game. Make this a competitive game. Give yourselves a fighting chance.
And that one is taken on the run by Jones and just short of midfield. So the Wolves will have great starting field position here for the start of the second half. So, yeah, Pat Brown saying adversity builds character, and certainly there is some character to be built here in a situation like this. The one thing I didn't ask Pat that I thought would have been distasteful was the injury to Ayala and what's going on there. But indeed it is Outlaw who will take the snap. She gives underneath immediately, and Jones is taken down from behind.
Right, you mentioned that. I mean, at the end, it's always an X man up situation. You got to find a way to maybe keep things close, get it done.
Trinity Grant made the tackle. But you're right. One injury leads to an opportunity for somebody else. Now, Outlaw, of course, is a starter on the defensive side. But she's going to be thrust into action here. Jones to her right. 2nd and 11. The give is to Jones underneath. She's bottled up almost immediately. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
We're seeing that run-heavy offense coming out now for the Wolves. I mean, obviously, you have your quarterback. Maybe you're throwing a bit more in these situations, but the offense is going to have to figure it out some way, have to figure out how to move the ball. They've been running the ball very well in this game. Maybe if you don't have the threat of the pass as well anymore, then you kind of allow the defense to lock in on that run game. We'll see what kind of arm Outlaw is working with as this game goes on.
Yeah, and that's just it. When you're down 27-0, at some point we are going to have to see the Wolves put this ball in the air. And we haven't seen Outlaw sling it yet. She took the knee, of course, to end the first half. Out of the shotgun. The give, once again, is to Jones up the middle. She does find the seam and gets 3 or 4 on the play, but it is going to be 4th and long, and it looks like the punt team is coming in.
And I think when you see a 3rd and 11, run the ball, it's clear that you kind of have to trust the run here in this situation without that starting quarterback. It's going to be hard for this Wolves team to move the ball if they can't throw the ball that much, but we'll see what kind of plays they can draw up going forward. It's going to be a tough sledding as this game goes on. This is where the defense has to step up, make some plays as well if this punt goes well for them.
Yeah, and maybe make the decisive play, as finally coming down with it was Anderson. She gets bottled up almost immediately, a little bit out past the 25-yard line, but was able to get that back after the bobble.
It looked like that bobble was going to lead to something a little bit dangerous. The Wolves could have. That's the kind of play the Wolves need, though. They need some muffs. They need some defensive, offensive miscues from the Nighthawks.
Yeah, John, and they could just use a break. They really haven't had a break in this game. Now, credit the Nighthawks because they haven't really allowed them to get that break. They haven't taken any penalties, so these are things that good teams will do. They won't allow you to capitalize on mistakes. So give a lot of credit to the Nighthawks, but that being said, the Wolves could really just use something to go their way here. Swing that momentum that Pat was talking about at halftime. Long count by Vetak. Ike in motion just a bit, trying to string it to the outside was Alston. She gets by 1, but cannot get past the cavalry. That is a big loss of about 5 yards on the play, and it'll be 2nd down and long.
That run was kind of broken up from the beginning. Tried to kind of cut back, maybe get back a yard or two, but then that decision leads to losing 5. So you kind of just got to run north, take a hit, just try to go forward there. But second down and long, this is what the Wolves need to keep doing. That defensive line, that second level coming down and making plays happen. This is where you can give yourself a chance. Even if you're only running the ball, if you get the ball at the 42-yard line, you still have a chance to get some points on the board.
100% here as Vetok once again barks out the signals using every second of that clock. Ike in motion, but the give is to Alston again. Tries to string it out and gets held up at the sideline at about the 25, just short of the 25. It'll be 3rd down and 12. Actually, they do mark it now at the 25, so 3rd and 11 after the gain of 4. Alston did go out of bounds on that last play, but being very deliberate now about running the football, and really not much was happening up the middle. We saw earlier Edelman get bottled up a number of times, so that's how they try to string it out to the outside. Nothing doing there.
Right, you're kind of in moving the clock mode here. I wouldn't be surprised if you just keep running the ball, even though it is only the 3rd quarter so far.
Yeah, the Wolves do have the 2 opponents, and the clock is one of them. Pass out in the flat to Alston. She does gain the 30 and a little bit past it, but she will be shy of the first down, about 5 yards short. And it will be 4th down, and the Nighthawks will go 3 and out to start the 3rd quarter. But you're right, John. At this point, the Nighthawks can just essentially run on every single play if they wanted to, and can take, 2 minutes off the clock on each drive and kind of force the Wolves' hand. In other words, if the Wolves are going to get back in this game, just leave it on them and on the arm, most likely of Outlaw, the rest of the way. High snap, corralled, and sky-high punt ends up taking a Nighthawks bounce in Wolves territory, but down at the 46. So the Wolves will have great starting field right about where they left off their last drive, and they'll do it over again here in the early stages of the 3rd.
You've got that good field position. You're right around the 50 or closer to the 45, the 46-yard line. I mean, again, even if you're not going to go out and win this game, you got a chance here to get some good field position, make a positive drive, make some things happen, and just keep this Wolf offense going and play Wolf football, like Pat Brown said.
And you do have the benefits of knowing that the Nighthawks are not going to let you run the football. At least, the conventional wisdom from up here in the press box says, hey, we are going to let Outlaw beat us with her legs or her arm, but we are not going to allow you to run the football anymore. And we'll see what you could do via the pass with the new quarterback. 4 wide receivers set, 2 to each side, and the give is underneath, and nothing is there. And once again, the Nighthawks blow it up. Ayanna Green, the first one in, a loss of 1 on the play.
This Nighthawk defense, obviously, in theory, the Nighthawks can basically just keep running the ball when they get the ball back, and this game will end up in their favor. But defensively, they're not letting up at all. Great way for the defensive line to just be aggressive, come down and make a huge tackle for a loss. And especially for a team that has beat you 3 times last year, you want to just keep putting on the pressure.
Right. It is Jones to Outlaw's left. Shotgun formation, and Outlaw is going to throw. In the flat, catch is made, and brought to the ground after a gain of about 3 or 4 was Capardi. And it will be 3rd down and a long 8. But that has to feel good for Outlaw, though, John. Converting there on that pass. It's a swing pass, right in the flat there, but a confidence builder. Get a couple of repetitions there throwing the football. It's got to feel good for her.
Especially because it was her first pass.
Right.
To be able to go be 1 for 1, get some completions in, show to yourself that, okay, I can throw this ball. I can make some completions.
And the give is underneath to Jones. Jones fighting for every yard. She will be about 3 or 4 yards short. And you would have to think now, down by 4 scores, that this could be 4 down territory, even though we believe we're in the front half of the 3rd quarter. 4th and a very long 3. Wolves get some substitutions in the game. Montalvo reports in, gets the play call. from Outlaw, who now works back and will operate out of the shotgun. 2 wide receivers to each side. Capardi's on the near side this time. Outlaw, the give underneath. It is to Foster, and she is not going to have it. That first surge looked like she had a little bit of a window, John, but it closed quickly, as the Nighthawks have been doing all game long.
Again, they close windows very quickly. Every time it looks like there's some kind of opening, they just shut it down. This defense, I mean, this team as a whole, they look different this year. This is a different Nighthawk team. They look a lot stronger. You look at these past games, obviously you have the situation with the quarterback on the Wolf side, but I mean, they have looked good this year. They're going to, if this score holds up, they'll have a couple good blowouts on their resume already.
Well, they've yet to give up a point this season. They've outscored their opponents now 70-0 to start the season. Big 43-0 win over Carolina last week. Up by 4 scores here, and they take over at their own 46 after a stalled drive on downs. The give underneath to Alston. Flags fly. Alston gets the line of scrimmage, maybe a couple of yards more, but we will see what the result of this flag is. If it's against the Nighthawks, it'll be their first enforced penalty of the game.
The official came screaming in to throw that flag and break things up.
Yeah, it came from behind the play, and it will be. It looks like a holding on the Nighthawks, and indeed it is, and they will back this thing up 10 yards. It'll be 1st and 20. Want to thank the good looks of Salvatore Cuccio on our camera today. I believe I saw Sal wearing a New York Wolves hat that he purchased at
I saw the Wolves hat.
So.
I was wondering where I could get that. I mean, it's a nice hat.
That was sharp.
Right. They got some kind of details on the sides.
Yeah.
Looks like a wave of some sort. It's good.
Like
it's a good hat.
Yeah, Sal switching hats at the half.
He's got to get the rally cap going here for the Wolves.
Absolutely. Maybe it'll bring the Wolves some luck here, as operating out of the shotgun is Vetok. 1st and 20. Following the penalty, Vetok will air it out. Right sideline in stride, and the catch is made. Tanya Bates will get caught up inside the red zone, but a perfectly timed pass. Bates ran under it and almost had her second touchdown of the game.
Just busted coverage right here. We're going to take a look at that as well. Just broke that coverage, went right through. A great delay of that route.
Yeah.
We're going to see. We see it right here. I mean, that was just great football, great play. He's been quick today, these receivers.
Yeah. 27-0 and knocking at the door inside the red zone again. 1st and 10 at the 14. Obviously, the Nighthawks can get a first down without the benefits of scoring. 3 wide receiver set, 2 on the near side. And Vetok is going to throw. Middle of the field. The catch is made, and heading towards the goal line and almost getting to it was Kelsey Harris, her first catch of the game. It'll be 1st and goal for the Nighthawks. And John, Zamir, did it look like the Wolves kind of gave up on that play?
Just a little bit, it seemed that. But they ended up making a tackle earlier in it. But
yeah, it just looked like maybe they thought the pass was dropped or something. It was like a strange play as that one goes in for the touchdown. Vetok kept it herself, provided the damage, and it's now 33-0. So we'll go back to the previous play that allowed them to get the first down. There's the catch and the second effort to get close there. So that was that one, and then we'll get a second look at the touchdown off the quick snap. We'll do it after the PAT. But not the start you wanted if you're a Wolves fan or if you're a player on that bench. Nighthawks in complete control. Their second offensive touchdown of the game. Snap is down, and the kick is good. Makes it 34-0. And we do have a flag. It is a very late flag that came down on the tail end of that one. While we get the result of that flag, we'll show you another look at the touchdown. Simple quarterback sneak. It worked on a 4th down earlier in the game, and that time it works for another 6.
Yep, that quarterback sneak, again, like you mentioned, has worked a couple times. It's just really tough to stop. at any level of football, they've used it to their benefit. They got it done.
You can see the vibrations on your screen coming from our camera. That's because the fans here are stomping on the metal bleachers here. They are, well, the Nighthawks fans anyway, are enjoying it. 34-0 is your score here in the third quarter. The Nighthawks on their second drive of the third.
I think a couple of fans just like the song that's playing on right now.
Perhaps.
I don't know that song right now. I got to Shazam it, but if it gets it jumping like that, down 34-0, I kind of want to hear it again.
Yeah. And crowd in front of us, pro-Wolves crowd, because obviously you see on the far side of the field the Nighthawks faithful making the trip. There's a muffed punt by Foster. The ball is still down, and they're still working towards it. See if we can pull in a little tighter there on this one. Now the Nighthawks are saying they have it. Still no official word as they break out the binoculars to try and get underneath that one. It's Nighthawks football. The fifth turnover of the game for the Wolves, plus the bad snap on the punt. And, man, it is going downhill fast.
Just wasn't able to corral this one, and great way to get two Nighthawks down on it as well.
Yep.
They are still fighting like it's a 0-0 football game, this Nighthawk team.
And they will take over at the Wolves' 30-yard line. And certainly not over yet. We've seen comebacks before, but the Nighthawks are on their way to going 2-0. And if you're the Wolves, you are going to have to go back to the drawing board and really lament these mistakes and turnovers you've had in this one. They've led to direct scores, and now they set up the Nighthawks. Up the middle, catch is made, promptly brought down on the play was Harris. Her second catch, same play as what they ran earlier. Ortiz made the tackle on the play. But 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line now. Let's pick up a 13 on the last play. Vetok out of the shotgun. The Nighthawks keeping their foot on the gas, and it's Vetok going back to work. Middle of the field, it is tipped and almost intercepted. Nice job by Crosby to kind of interrupt that. She read that from the jump, almost undercut it, and she would have had a lot of green in front of her too.
Would have been a potential pick six opportunity, but I was going to say someone on this defense, and it seems like the Nighthawks are really not thinking about not putting more pressure on. They're just keeping it going. Someone's got to make a play. Someone's got to come out, make some kind of play, whether that's a big loss, a big sack, a big interception like we almost saw. You can't let them disrespect you. You got to make some kind of play.
Yeah, and the Nighthawks are throwing the football. They're not playing around here. Vetok, middle of the field, now going to the right. It is intercepted this time, and this one's going the other way. The Wolves needed a play. They got one, and still on their feet. I believe that might have been Outlaw on the defensive side. Come up with that one. No, it was Nandi Brown who made the interception, and so we said it. They needed a break, and that time Vetok underthrew that one, and Brown was right there to make the pick. We'll get another look at it in just a moment, but Wolves needed to stop there. They did that and then some.
And what an interception, but there's a huge stiff arm here on this play. Just sit down.
Nice.
What a play, what an interception by this defense. Again, they needed a play. They got a play. There's still a conversation here about where this game might go.
All right, so they start off at the 35-yard line. And a little bit of life in that Wolves sideline now. The rallying cry in full effect. They are down by a bunch. The give is underneath to Jones, and Jones is bottled up, and there is nowhere to go. And she lost 2 on the play. And you got to give credit to the Nighthawks. All game long, they've been really stuffing this run. But now, since Outlaw has come into the game, they have dedicated themselves to stopping the run and forcing Outlaw to throw the ball.
Right, because you don't have as much of that pass threat that you had earlier in the game with the unfortunate injury to Ayala. Now it's just, okay, the Nighthawks know they're running the ball. They know every time what's really going to happen. The pass isn't coming out as much.
Yeah, now I am screened by the blue tent in front of us. You don't see it on your screen, but I don't see Ayala on the bench anymore for the Wolves, so she might have gone either for treatment or, but she is not physically here, I don't believe. So it is Outlaw the rest of the way, and now the run is to the opposite side and looking to make something happen, but nothing there for Foster. She's bottled up. Maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage, if anything. And it will be a 3rd and 12 coming up. And really, when we have seen Outlaw throw the football, John, she really has thrown it into the flat or, just a, 2-yard hook play. But we haven't seen her go down the field at all. And we'll see if they could draw something up here on 3rd and 12.
You'd imagine they want to try it at some point, even if that's not her game.
And the give is to Foster. Foster looked like she got the handoff a little bit late. She does manage this time to get back to the original line of scrimmage, but that's all. It'll be 4th and 10. It looks like the Wolves are bringing on the punt unit. Clock continues to run 2.
It seems like kind of the Wolves understand what they got. If they're going to make some plays, kind of got to let your defense go out and do it. They haven't been able to run the ball here in this second half as well either. Seems like they're kind of just going through the motions as well on both sides. It's impossible not to when you're down 34-0, even when you're down 27-0. Got a flag here as well.
Yep, pre-snap penalty here. And it's against the Wolves, so they'll back them up another 5 yards. And just like we said at the top, John, in our pregame warm-up to this game was, every game counts, and we know that. The Massey rating will take a hit after this game for the Wolves should this stand. But you don't have a lot of time to really lament losses either or try to fix mistakes. You got to get right back out there and do something productive. This one takes a Wolves bounce, and the Nighthawks will take over at their own 33 following a 32-yard punt.
Right, the question heading into next week is going to be the health of their quarterback. But when you look at just the season as a whole, like you said, you don't have a lot of time to figure out. You don't have a lot of time to worry about, we just lost a game. There's still 4 games left after this. They got a lot of road matchups ahead of them as well. It's going to be tough, but you've got to just keep it going. You've got to find a way to find these wins. And for this, opening year in the Pro Division, they've got to show something here.
Yeah, and following the 20-14 win last week over the Venom, you see the game today. And then the Wolves don't play for 2 weeks. And that's the good part, as they will have the first of 2 byes this season coming up next week. Probably can't come at a better time.
Especially if you got to, heal up before that big game on the road as well.
I believe we have a new quarterback in the game for the Nighthawks. That's number 13, Sherry Anderson. And it was a run for very minimal yardage. Did not get the runner on the play. It was Edelman. Thank you to our press box commentary in the booth to the right of us. I want to thank everybody in the Wolves organization for the unbelievable hospitality we've been given here at PDF Sports Network 2 weeks in a row. We thank Tommy and Shayna and the crew here with the New York Wolves for everything that they've done here. 2nd down, 9 yards to go. And putting it up, but off the fingertips and incomplete. The intended receiver was Husband, so Anderson's first pass is incomplete.
You have the lefty quarterback as well. It's always great to see a lefty out there.
Yeah. Are you a lefty, John?
I'm not a lefty,
Right.
but I appreciate the
but
lefty
you show the love
quarterback.
to the lefties.
You have to appreciate the lefty quarterback when you watch Tim Tebow at Florida play. You want to see something like that again.
Absolutely. Might have another lefty on the scene in the NFL with the drafting of Penix.
Right. He won't play for 4 years, but we'll
at least if Atlanta has their way,
right,
he won't.
Exactly. All you've got is Tua.
Right. That's right. 3rd down and 9 yards to go. And Wolves are going to say they were drawn off, but this looks like it will be against New York, as they will move it up 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down and 4 instead of a 3rd and 9, so much more manageable here for Anderson and company.
They're kind of losing that composure now that this game, it seems that you've got the backup quarterback in for the other side. It seems like it's out of reach. you got to do your best to stay composed and not have those penalties. Still play that sound football.
Yeah, now it's not really an obvious passing down either. 3rd down and 4, and the give is underneath to Edelman. Edelman looks to move the pile and might have enough. She put that head down, and the Wolves got there all right. But it looks like it might just be short here. They've stopped the clock in order to spot the ball. It is going to be about a foot short.
I have to imagine they still go for it here, even though they're up by so much.
Yeah, and the quarterback sneak has worked as we have a timeout here. It's an official timeout because they do want to measure.
Bring the sticks out.
Right, so it's the first measurement that we've had here, and got to say the officiating crew has been really good tonight. They haven't had to do a lot as far as, throw the flag, and they haven't done so, but they've kept the game moving very well. And now they're doing the right thing here as the Nighthawks have asked for a measurement. They'll get it, and we'll see what the result is here.
So the Sticks crew gets their screen time today. See what they got. Looks like it's going to be so close here.
Yep. Sal Cuccio will give us a nice look here on the camera.
A great angle. The R&F are in our way, but we'll wait for the signal.
Well, unless he brings the credit card out.
Just short.
That's a little short. So it is 4th and less than a foot, it looked like. Now, the Nighthawks have scored on a quarterback sneak. They've converted a 4th down on a quarterback sneak, and you would think that they're going here, and we'll see if they draw that play up again.
It's just about 2 inches short.
And they're switching the field, John, which means that we have come to the end of the 3rd quarter, a quarter that raced by.
Right.
And we are through 3 here in Newark. 15 minutes to go, and the Nighthawks 15 minutes away from starting out 2-0.
When we talk about Massey ratings for the Nighthawks as well, just kind of looking at it from their angle, they're getting a huge win against a pro division team, no matter however you look at it.
Right.
It's a huge win for them to go out. I mean, they're, again, right at that upper half of Division II. It's going to be huge for them going forward just to get this win.
Yeah, and coming into this week, the Nighthawks were ranked 2nd in Division II in Massey rating. And for those of you who are wondering what Massey rating is, it's a very complex algorithm that measures wins and losses and yardage and home and away and a whole lot of different things that go into the formula. Spits out a number, and whatever that number is, that is actually, John, what determines playoff ranking as well. So, we've seen teams in the past with better records situated lower on Massey lists simply because of strength of schedule as well, which is another huge determining factor. Quarterback sneak, and they will have the 1st down and then some as Anderson drives forward past the 45-yard line. But, yeah, the Wolves, which a lot of people thought they were the favorites going into last year's Division II tournament, they were not the highest-seeded team, and a lot of that was due to the Massey rating and their strength of schedule. Turns out they played some teams that didn't do well last year, and so obviously your team's record plays a big part in things as well, and who they've played plays a big part as well. So all of that gets put in, and the Massey ratings are for the NFL, the college football, every sort of league you can imagine. Obviously, some teams use it as a measuring stick. The WFA is one. 1st and 10, new set of downs for the Nighthawks. Edelman up the middle. She is bottled up and going nowhere fast. Jane Crosby, the first Wolf on the play. 2nd down and 10 or 11.
It's probably about a half a yard or whatever. But
split the difference.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's interesting to see where either of these teams go in terms of Massey, in terms of where they're going to be seated. It's important, especially when your league uses it as the measuring stick instead of just record and wins and losses because you play teams in different divisions. So I know a lot of college fans are probably tired of hearing complex algorithms now, but it works here. It works a lot of the time. So it's important.
Yeah, and it's important because we're seeing it here tonight. Pro teams do play Division II teams. I don't believe they're allowed to play Division III teams, but Division II plays Division III. Obviously, they play pro teams as well. So there's got to be a universal system, so to speak, to measure all of this. As Alston goes off left side for 5 yards. But it does work for the WFA, and usually it does determine who the best team is at the end of the year. The results do come through.
Again, I mean, the Wolves, they're losing to a Division II team, right? Most likely, if all things go the way they're supposed to go. They still have games against those pro teams, against those higher-ranked teams. So, yes, in all likelihood, this is going to result in a loss for this team, but they've got plenty of time to make the ground up, to make the time up, to make that record up. There's still a lot of time left here in this season for them. Obviously, it's a lot shorter. It's only about 6 games, but it's tough. It's going to be a tough uphill climb after losing this game. You want to win your Division II games if you play them, but again, you've got against Pittsburgh, Boston, tough teams. They got to play the Nighthawks again.
Yep.
Down in Maryland.
I was going to say, look at that game on 6/15.
Oh man,
they'll have to make the trip and play Baltimore again. And it's a rivalry. These two teams are used to playing at least once during the season. Most of the time, it has been twice. Even when both teams were in Division II, that was the case. So yeah, you got a look there at what's upcoming for the Wolves.
Yeah, the Wolf fans are going to have to hop on the Amtrak, get down to Baltimore.
That's right.
Figure it out.
And they'll have to do it with payback in mind, for sure, because it looks like the Nighthawks have solved the Wolves' riddle. And, there are a lot of people on the Nighthawks sideline that really felt like if they beat the Wolves in that semifinal, they were going to win a Division II championship. They felt very confident there. The ball's on the ground. A fumble is down. I don't think anyone picked it up, but Alston was there to get on top of it. And 2 yards further ahead to boot. Unfortunate play for both sides. I don't think the Wolves realized that ball was on the ground.
I think it came out almost immediately. Not exactly sure what happened, but sure we'll take a look at it. The ball came out. It looked like it was a messed up handoff. Just came right out of the handoff, and it's tough to kind of react to that. When you're not ready for the fumble, you're focused on making a tackle. It just came out right away. Second the play really started, that ball comes out of the handoff. No one's able to get on it. A self-recovery here on 2nd and 3.
So 4th down. Chance to extend the drive here, and the Wolves get back on the field. Little stutter there at the line. Mix up there. Alston gets to it, finds some room at the 45, past the 40. She wants to stay in bounds, but does get pushed out at the 35-yard line, but not before the Nighthawks pick up a first down on John, a busted play.
It was just a play that you don't want to see. If you're a Wolf fan, if you're on the Wolves, you just you had the tackle, you had the play made. I mean, great patience again to just kind of keep bouncing off, but just tough way to go out. And the Nighthawks just allow themselves to keep running the ball here in this 4th quarter and keep things going.
Yeah, you can see how this develops here. Just
players going the other way.
And Anderson's bouncing off of her own team, and Alston on what she's done a few times here in this one. Manages to get outside, string together a big gain. 35-yard line, they have it 1st and 10. Bunch formation here for sure. Only one wide out near side. Run all the way. It is Alston. Right side. Again, she gets pushed out of bounds. Gain of about 1 or 2 at most. Call it a gain of 3 officially, I think.
We'll take the word for it.
Yeah, 2nd and 7. And now the chain gang catches up.
It looked like a little bit less than that, but that's where the spot was.
Yeah, and the clock is stopped right now on that last push off the sidelines. Don't think it matters here. 34-0. I think what only thing that will be in doubt is whether the Wolves can puncture the scoreboard here in this game, or whether or not the Nighthawks will go 2 shutouts in a row. Anderson gives to Alston, this time left side. She bounces it out into the middle of the field again, is close to a first down, and on the 3rd effort, she gets it. They'll move the sticks here, 1st and 10 for Baltimore.
Right, they're just running the ball really well near the end of this game here. Some of the Wolves kind of mailing it in, down 34-0. You'd love to see someone kind of step up and make a play and show some energy near the end of this game, give you something to head into. You have 2 bye weeks, but your next game, you got a lot of time to kind of let this loss sit there and sit with it and understand what went wrong and what they could have did better, even despite all the circumstances they went through.
Yep, there'll be a lot to unpack after this game for sure. And for the Nighthawks, they'll have a nice road back to Baltimore.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun bus going back in. 1st and 10 on the new set of downs. Alston once again with the carry. Off tackle right side and gets popped at about the 18-yard line, but gains the red zone to gain another 5 yards. And, John, get back to the fact that this is your first game here with us on
Right.
PDF Sports Network. Tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the broadcasting travels you've done.
Well, in terms of travels, I've done quite a few, but I a year ago graduated from Seton Hall, did a lot of radio for them, a lot of what they do in their television network, and called a bit of hockey during the fall this past semester, and great to get back on the football side of things. But I mean, we've seen a lot of trips, we've seen a lot of places, of covered a lot of Big East tournament stuff and all that, so it's good to be here and see this league for the first time as well. It's fun.
Well, it's great to have you on board, and thank you for joining us here as Edelman gets the carry, and she's promptly wrestled down by Jarvis, who's had a nice game here for the Wolves on the interior of the defensive line. It'll be 3rd down and about 4 on the play as we have a timeout that will be called. And it's an injury timeout, so not sure who is down. It is an official timeout. So they'll get the training staff out on there, and that'll give us a chance, John, to see some of the upcoming action that we will have here on PDF Sports Network. We'll get that up on your screen now. Soap FC soccer playing against New York Phoenix FC on Sunday, May 12th. That's Mother's Day at 5 p.m. We hope that you'll join us as we head over to Staten Island to check out Soap FC as part of the UPSL Division II action there. And then the day after, on May 13th, I'll be at Above Restaurant on Staten Island for the Christopher Lou ALS fundraiser. New York Yankees legend Jim Leyritz will be on hand as we raise a lot of money for Lou Gehrig's disease and some of our people in our community battling there. Big East football on Saturday, May 18th at 2 p.m. will be in Staten Island, where the Staten Island Hurricanes will take on the Brooklyn Bengals in Big East football. And then we head over to the arena as the New Jersey Bearcats, PDF's own, will take on the Wheeling Miners at 6 p.m. at Warananko Sports Complex in New Jersey. We hope you'll join us here. All of those events will be live here on PDF Sportsnet, youtube.com/@PDF Sportsnet, or at pdfsportsnet.com.
It's a great schedule right there. I heard Big East football, and I started thinking back to the olden days, but they put on a great show as well.
Big East semi-pro football.
There you go.
This one is, and I think there are 6 teams in Big East football. That is a brand new semi-football conference.
That's awesome.
In the New York tri-state area. We have the Den going on in semi-pro football. A lot of Long Island and Pennsylvania teams there. Brooklyn teams as well. And then in the summer, PDF Sportsnet has your EFA game of the week, the Elite Football Alliance, another semi-pro men's league operated in Long Island, but we'll be in Brooklyn, we'll be in New Jersey, we'll be in Long Island for some games there, a game of the week there. And then, of course, PDF Sports Network is the official home of the Jersey Sharks. They operate out of the League of All Leagues, semi-pro. The Jersey Sharks last year won the League of All Leagues last year, a very, very high competitive semi-pro league that is. And they also went on to win a national championship in Florida last year among semi-pro teams. So we can't wait to bring you some summer football as well.
It's going to be awesome. You see a lot of new leagues coming up as well in terms of semi-pro football and lower-level football. The influence of the UFL coming together.
Edelman up the middle, runs into a wall and is put down promptly by Jarvis. It'll be 4th down and short. But it's a good point that you make, John, about all the semi-pro popping up on the men's side. And it's great. I love it, John, because it keeps players who are maybe at the end of their careers playing, but it also allows for some young, budding talent to really showcase, maybe guys who didn't get a chance to play college who are playing there as well. So you get players from all walks and all different arenas kind of coming together there, as going up the middle was Anderson for the first down.
I mean, it is great to see the growth of the game in general. I mean, you think of football, you don't really think of growth of the game because the NFL is so huge. But to have players who, again, like you mentioned, who aren't the NFL players who maybe were playing in college before, the end of their careers, doing other things in their life, they still get the chance to go out and play this game. So it's great to see for them, and it's great to just, as football fans, to have also more football to watch.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And one of the impetuses behind starting PDF Sports, and at least for me, was to get a chance to call football. That was always my favorite sport growing up, and football and hockey were my two. And I said, you know what, we're going to start PDF Sports Network, and we're going to make those the two major draws of this network. And we're so delighted to have the support of these leagues and teams. Edelman bouncing one out to the left side. She runs out of real estate, but not before she gains 5 healthy yards and cuts the difference. On the way to the goal line, it'll be 2nd and goal from the 5.
It's great to be a part of it as well. Appreciate allowing me to get to do this game. Obviously, you know, one day I'll get a closer game. One day we'll get a closer game. But the Wolves, they've got a lot to look forward to. They're still a great team.
Yeah.
But it is great. Football's always been great to call. I did a lot of basketball.
Right.
It's always fun. But we did a few football games as well for some high school teams and whatnot. So getting a look at this league here it's great. They play hard. They play really hard.
Nighthawks looking to extend their lead. The give is to Edelman. Bounces it. Right side. Finds a seam and scores the touchdown. Her first of the game. And the Nighthawks have made it an even 40. They now lead the Wolves 40-0.
Just cut right back inside. Great run by Edelman there. And again, these Nighthawks are really playing to the whistle.
Absolutely. And extra point upcoming, but you see the look there. And hard yards. Alston began the drive. Edelman finished it. And the Nighthawks are finishing off the Wolves here in tremendous fashion. Chance to go up here by another point. Snap is up. Kick is good. And it gets through the upright. So 41-0 is our score. As we believe we are approaching the end of this one here. You see the zeros on the clock, but the clock has not been kept for this one.
This clock's been at zeros all day. So.
And John, while we shift our attention to the WFA, we do want to mention that PDF Sports Network is the home of the Tri-State Warriors of the WFA. Tri-State not fielding a team this year. They're taking the year to grow their team, to grow their product, but we are a very proud home to the Tri-State Warriors and all the great things that they're doing, not just in the WFA, but for Central Jersey. I know people sometimes say there is no such thing as Central Jersey.
There is. No, there is.
I'm in the camp that says there is a Central Jersey. I live in Central Jersey.
Yeah, exactly. So. I always say Central Jersey. Every time I say I live in Central Jersey if you believe that exists. But I always believe. There's Middlesex County. There's a middle of the state.
Yeah.
So that's a central to me. That's what I always say.
Love it. Couldn't agree more. And we, of course, hope to have Tri-State Warriors football next year when they get back onto the gridiron. In the meantime, the Nighthawks converge on the kickoff here. The Wolves will have probably their worst starting field position that they've had in a long time in this game. Ball spotted at the 25-yard line.
Just to kind of tackle the other New Jersey debate, I don't participate in the Taylor ham and pork roll one. I don't participate. I just, whatever the bagel shop says it is, that's what I say.
Exactly.
I choose not to participate.
I mean,
I don't know about you.
I am not going to die on a hill for either one of those, but I do say pork roll.
Okay.
I do say, yeah.
I don't want to die on the ham hill. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Right.
So it's fun. Hopefully those Tri-State Warriors do kind of get back going as soon as they can. And a lot of these teams do great things for their communities as well.
Absolutely,
very active and making appearances and everything, so it's great.
Pass underneath to Capardi. She's converged on immediately, but another completed pass over the middle, getting the repetitions there. Outlaw, since the injury to Ayala has happened, it has been Outlaw taking the snaps for the Wolves, and that's something that the Wolves will have to solve here in these 2 weeks off. They have a bye next week, which could not have come at a better time as their starting quarterback had to leave the game in the late stages of the second quarter. Certainly one of the sub-stories to this game for sure, and probably the biggest takeaway on the Wolves side. Outlaw does have room, surveys underneath, and it's incomplete. Closest defender there was Trinity Grant, who almost came up with one.
And there's a scenario where you do have to run Outlaw again as starting quarterback at their next, hopefully they get Ayala back, but it's clear they want her to kind of throw the ball more in this game, get more game action throwing near the end of this game now that it's basically over. So to get some experience in game action, throwing the ball, making these reads, seeing a defense that's not your own in practice.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You would think that Outlaw takes, I would guess, 98% of the practice snaps in the defensive secondary. And this is the give underneath, and the Wolves are put down immediately. I believe that was Jones back at it. It was Jones. But a loss, and it will be a 4th down and about 6 on the play. And now we have a timeout, and this should be, I believe, either for an injury or if it's a 2-minute warning. I believe that was it. We got no official signal as to who took the timeout. So we believe that's the 2-minute warning, and so this one is in its final stages. You could see it on your screen, and that score kind of indicative of the way this game went in terms of mistakes and capitalizing on others' mistakes. That was the story here, John, no question. 5 turnovers, a muffed punt snap that ended up in the end zone, an immediate touchdown for the Nighthawks. I think if there was one, story of this game, that was it. The mistakes by the Wolves and the Nighthawks able to capitalize.
Right, because you think of a game where a quarterback goes down, and it's not like that was the reason that they lost this game. They still made a lot of mistakes.
Muffed punt the other way, and Brewer does the smart thing and just gets right down on it.
But again, you mentioned the turnovers early. They were down 27-0 at halftime. They were down a lot when the injury first took place to their starting quarterback. A lot of mistakes, a lot of miscues on every side of the ball, really. So it's going to be an interesting few practices coming up for this team as they, again, look forward to their next matchup. They got 2 road matchups coming up. We've talked about it. So they get the bye weeks to kind of retool, rearm, and keep things steady. But they're going to try to figure this out. They got to figure it out as soon as they can.
Yeah, and they will not be home again until the 8th of June. So there is a long time before we see the Wolves again. Really, a little over a month from now is when we'll be back on PDF Sportsnet. We will be at Howard Middle School in Long Island, Farmingdale, for that one. New quarterback in the game and new running back as well, and powering ahead for some hard yards, second effort, and closing in on a first down was Elias Stewart. The new quarterback is Rhodesha Davis.
Nighthawks, again, just they keep playing like it's 0-0. Yes, you put in your backups in, but they're still playing really hard in this game. They have taken this opportunity to get some revenge, and they've just kept running with it. Quite literally.
They have not taken their foot off the gas. Now, they have stopped throwing the football.
Right.
That's about it. Now, I made a mistake. The last ball carrier was Charlotte Randall Ramos. She's back in behind Davis at this point, and she will get the carry here on the right side. She is backtracking, now turns forward, but that will still be about a 2-yard loss on the play, and it'll bring up about a 3rd and 5. As we are in the waning moments, we've already had our 2-minute warning, we believe. And the Nighthawks will improve to 2-0 this season. The Wolves will fall to 1-1. Of course, many people to thank. My partner, John McCooch, Sal Cuccio on our camera, everybody here involved with the New York Wolves, but also for all of you at home who've taken time out of their evening here to join us. We thank you for being a part of our broadcast here, battling a little bit of technical difficulties on the front end of this one, but we've had a pretty seamless broadcast, and we're happy to bring it to you. Davis barking out signals. She does give up the middle to Randall Ramos, but she's going nowhere fast, and that'll bring up a 4th and long, and we should see the punt team come out, or perhaps running another play from scrimmage might end this one. These two teams will meet again in Baltimore. If that game gets streamed, that is one that I'll be watching and seeing if the Wolves, by that time it'll be the final game of the season, and it might have some very heavy playoff implications. I believe that 8 teams will make the playoffs in Pro Division and in Division 2, so we'll keep our eye on that. Reminder, hostedsports.com and WFA's website. Keep it tuned to that as well. It will be a run on 4th and long. They will not get it. They get back to the line of scrimmage, does Randall Ramos. The Wolves will get the ball back. If that's not it, but it is not. So the clock does stop here on the change of possession. The Wolves will get the ball one last time, we would think.
Kind of just running back and forth here. I'll squeeze in a thank you to you as well. The people that you thanked are thanking you as well for getting this broadcast up and running, so much appreciated.
Absolutely welcome, John. A pleasure working with you for this game. Hope we link up in the future, of course.
Sure we will.
We have plenty of things going on. Joe Foreman, our partner who covered our arena game last week with Aaron Cohen, will be on some broadcasts as well coming up. Look forward to that as Outlaw is spilled down. Ball came loose late, but the sack by Amanda Graham. And lost in all this, tremendous defensive performance by the Nighthawks. And Graham right in the middle of everything and picks up her first sack of the game, loss of 6.
Just huge right there to go out and get that sack. I mean, interesting decision to kind of throw the ball as well. Obviously, again, you want the experience, but these Nighthawks aren't slowing down either.
It's all about the Massey points, John.
It's all about the Massey points. They don't stop.
Yeah.
They don't stop.
Yards, points, all of that counts.
Yeah.
And so, you don't see a lot of teams, taking a knee, late in games. Obviously you want to be respectful. You want to have sportsmanship at all times,
right.
But so many factors go in, and points are a big factor. And so you got to play the full 60 minutes.
Right.
Outlaw back to pass, looking downfield. That one's on the ground, incomplete.
Sure, both teams understand the Massey situation as well. They understand, hey, we're both going to play till the whistle no matter what the score is.
100%. Jules Asperti was the intended receiver there, as some of the Wolves reserves players make their way in as well for some time. And like we referenced many, many times in this game, there's not a lot of time to, get things right, but also not a lot of time to lament losses either. You got to kind of, get back at it right away on the practice field. And as great as some of these wins can be early in the season, the losses don't last long either. Outlaw back to pass on 3rd and long. Middle of the field, wide open, and the catch is made. And going in for more, I believe that might have been Asperti again. And getting up slowly is Capardi. So that was Capardi after all, working in the middle of the field. Wolves get a big play, but we do have a Wolves player down in the backfield. And I believe that's it. So, John, as they tend to the injured player, we have officially gone final here at Shabazz High School Stadium. Your final score is 41-0. And, John, we expected a good game, a back-and-forth game, a close game. We didn't get that, but what we did get was a show from the Baltimore Nighthawks. They win last week 43-0. They double up now, win this one 41-0 on the Wolves. Yet to surrender a point this season, and they deserved every bit of this victory.
They absolutely did. They came out, they played hard, they made a lot of great plays, they created points, whether it was defensively, on special teams, their offensive effort. They just came out and played a complete game of football. The Massey rating, they're going to love this game, whether they take it in the context of the quarterback loss or not. This is just a complete team. They're a great team. They came out, and when you talk about revenge, I don't think there's a better way to serve this revenge right here. 41-0. You come out strong, and they have a great season ahead of them. You can't get too much of an ego after a win like this if you're Baltimore. You've got a tough schedule as well. I mean, but you beat a pro team by 41 points. You have to take it in, enjoy it, but you've still got a whole schedule left to go. They've got to keep this thing moving if you're Baltimore. But for New York, again, a tough loss, but you've got time to recover. You've got time to go back to practice, look over what went wrong, look over how you can get better. You're still 1-1 with plenty of season left to go. Far from over in terms of their season, but you see Baltimore is feeling good about themselves. They are hyped up right now. Oh, man.
It's good to see Nandi Brown get up for the Wolves here to finish things off. That's what was holding up this handshake line. And, John, just to kind of wrap up with the focus on the Wolves, they're a much better team than what this score would indicate.
Absolutely.
Just not a lot went their way today. They were very careless with the football. They made some big mistakes. You got to give credit to the Nighthawks for capitalizing on those mistakes, making them really hurt. But we expect the Wolves to be okay.
Absolutely. They'll be fine. They'll be fine, especially if they can get Ayala back and healthy and ready to go. But this is still a tough team, a hard-nosed team. They've got a great defensive line. They love to run a couple blitzes every now and then also. They're fine. They're 1-1. When you look back on the end of the year, if they're 5-1, you're not going to care that this is 41 points to nothing. If you go 5-1, you go for whatever you do. If you can find a way to get into the postseason, you do it. It doesn't matter if you lose this game. As long as you keep the rest of the season going, you've got plenty of time to make this up, and they've got a lot of players that can go out and get it done. And they've got championship experience on this team as well. So if they know how to fight through adversity, and any team that would know, probably the New York Wolves. So they'll be all right.
And they will have to meet again on the season finale in Baltimore. So still another chapter to be written in this rivalry. So that'll do it for us. We thank you for joining us once again. For everybody who've joined us, we want to thank the entire New York Wolves organization. For our camera operator, Sal Cuccio. For my partner, John McCooch, I'm David Pizzuto, wishing you a very good rest of the evening and a very good rest of the weekend from all of us at PDF Sports Network. Once again, your final score, the Baltimore Nighthawks 41 and the New York Wolves 0. Thanks for joining us and have a great evening.